All right, guys, we are here in Austin, Texas with the dynamic duo, Batman and Batman.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to say. Either way, you guys are superheroes to me. Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I'm here with Easy, Izana Kavanaugh, as well as Michael Ruwwe. And they are the co-GMs of the Austin office for Prophet Homes. Guys, welcome.
Appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to be here too.
Happy to have you. So we got 3 of us here. This is the first where I've been interviewing 2 different people at the same time. I know Michael and I are both talkers. We're going to talk over each other, but let's just do our best. I don't want to call on you individually, right? But I guess I kind of have to. I'll just lead off.
We got a good flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We've been doing pretty good the last 10 months.
Yeah. You have.
Maybe
yes,
last 5 years.
Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Born and raised in Austin.
Okay.
Grew up here. Went up to Fort Worth in 2013, graduated in 2017 from TCU, and home called me back. So managed to find my way back here, but born and raised in Austin.
Cool. What did you study in school?
I had a finance degree with a concentration in real estate, and I also minored in energy. So going into college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew a finance degree was a good benchmark to set, but kind of tried to diversify into different sectors where I wanted to go after that. But for the most part, yeah, pretty strong.
Cool.
Real estate background.
Easy. How about you? Where are you from?
Born in Austin, moved all around the city.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly North Austin. And then I went to high school in Georgetown.
Cool.
Yeah, so.
Did you go to college?
I did a little bit. Yeah, I went to Blinn Junior College. Yeah, I dabbled.
Okay.
I tried.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Blinn Junior College in Brenham, which sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that for like 2 years.
Shout out Blinn.
Yeah, shout out to Blinn Buccaneers. Yep. Yeah, and then I transferred to Texas State.
Okay.
Did a semester there.
Okay.
And then I had enough. Yeah.
Realized it wasn't right
first
for you.
of all, I didn't even know you guys were local boys. So that's cool to hear.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do after that when you were done with school?
Everything. Man, I Ubered. I worked in warehouses. Yeah, I did all kinds of random oddball jobs. Like I worked at a Jamba Juice, Target. Anywhere they would hire me, I worked there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Uber was my favorite though.
Okay.
Yeah, before real estate.
Just what? Talking to people, flexibility. What was it?
Yeah, talking to people. Yeah, I think that's when I kind of began to learn, like, I just want to be around people.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I enjoyed that. And yeah, driving the city was fun, you know, at night, with all the drunk people. It was fun to me.
For sure. Well, at what point did you, number one, get interested in real estate, and 2, kind of lean into that as a focus? Because it sounds like you were kind of jumping around trying to figure it out.
Yeah, so I had long dreadlocks, like to my shoulders.
What?
Yeah, I did. I could show you.
Man.
I can show you my ID.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I hadn't shaved for like a few years.
Okay.
And yeah, I was gonna like move back to Ethiopia, where my family's from, and I was just gonna live there. But my dad made me an offer, or he told me basically if I cut my hair, he would pay for my real estate license and get me a decent looking car.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I took that deal, and yeah, I started at like Keller Williams in Houston when I was living in Houston.
Okay.
And then yeah, Remax, bounced around a little bit, and then yeah, I found a previous company that we worked for, and yeah, my cousin was actually working there.
Okay.
And he put me on to the Austin team.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Michael, how about you? How did you find this business?
So I got licensed in college just because I knew I kind of had a track to potentially get into the oil business, and oil wasn't doing well right then. And, you know, TCU has a pretty big base for being in the oil business. So that was a possibility, but I really didn't want to go follow in anyone's footsteps. So real estate seemed like a good path for me, whether or not it was residential or commercial or lending, whatever it may be. So I figured getting my license in college was a good place to start. It'd show that I'd be, you know, motivated to start with a brokerage pretty quick after school. And I actually went through the process of getting a couple offers from commercial real estate firms in DFW. And just throughout that process made me kind of realize, like, I didn't want to wear a suit every day. I didn't want to be the guy to wait 6 or 18 months for a turnaround time on a commercial lease and deal with those types of people, that business mindset. And, I came back to Austin after college because that ship kind of sailed its course. I figured I'd set up roots in Austin, and I went through the process of like interviewing with Keller Williams and teams like that. And I was like, man, I don't want to put signs in people's yards. I don't want to find people there forever homes. There's too much emotion in it. Like, I want to deal with numbers. Like, that's like what I love doing is numbers and data driven, assets and investments. And found a company that was, newer to the space in Austin, and just kind of jumped full steam ahead. So this was my first job, really my first career path since college. So
Okay.
I've only known this since the last, almost 9 years now is what I've been doing. So It was a great place to get in your foot in the door quickly, and get up and off the ground fast. So that's kind of my mindset, is like, I didn't want to struggle for years and years and years, and then finally reap the benefits when I was like 30 or 35. Like, I wanted to make a lot of money, and I wanted to make it quick.
Sure.
So
No, I appreciate that. And you make some really, really good points. I mean, I think a lot of people, I considered going the commercial route at one point, but the barrier for entry is just high.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different culture.
got to know people.
You got to know people. You got to play the game. You have to be a certain type of person.
Yeah.
I like an environment where you can just be yourself, at least for me. Like,
Very
you would
true.
flourish in that. Like, I think you do very, very well. But for some of us, it's like wearing a mask.
Would I have made it to that like 2-year mark where I was
Right.
like really going to be successful at that point? It would have been a grind,
Yeah.
Like, I think I sold a house within a month, a couple weeks of
Sure.
getting into real estate. And that's just like instant success. And that's just something that you don't really see traditionally in
Yeah.
the commercial space.
I also want to get this in. There is nothing more dehumanizing than putting an open house sign on a median with balloons,
Yeah.
wearing a suit. And I have done that. This is definitely the better option.
Thankfully, we haven't gotten there yet.
Well, hopefully you never will.
Hopefully we
You
never will.
will.
Yeah.
Well, I want to kind of suggest a framework here, and I'm going to have probably a number of questions under this. Before I joined Prophet, the company had been open for quite a few months, and our COO, Max Alpert, told me he was hiring both of you as co-managers.
Package.
My immediate response, don't. Not going to work. There's not going to be any accountability. Who does the buck stop with? Egos will get involved. They'll get bent. So many reasons. I just rattled them off. I was wrong, because the two of you have been definitely some of my favorite people to work with in this company. You've been excellent from the start, and your relationship personally, your personal relationship and your working relationship has just been incredible to watch. Starting with that, I want to kind of dial it back. As agents, you both did sales, you both did acquisitions. I know both of you can buy.
Mhm.
What's your lane? What do you like more? And I want to hear from you as well.
I was not a good sales agent
Fair.
when I first started off. I think I had an imposter syndrome. I really didn't understand the value that I brought. And that was really kind of hard for me to overcome in the beginning. I sold houses, don't get me wrong. I think I probably sold about 15 or 20 houses before I was put into the position to buy homes. And I think, where we previously were, it was a situation where I was questioning a lot of things. I was prying at information. I was understanding why deals were selling in certain aspects of, you can't call this rehab 30,000 and you can't call this rehab the same rehab, when obviously these are different products. So I think I poked holes in a lot of stuff, and they realized that and kind of put me in a position to start buying homes
The
pretty
skeptical
quickly.
sales agent,
Exactly.
which I like.
But it was data driven. It wasn't, it had basis to it, and it wasn't a situation where I was just like the hot shot thinking I knew everything. Like, I was trying to understand, and it wasn't making sense. So I think that showed a lot. And I got moved into an acquisition agent role pretty quickly. So I wasn't like a top sales agent like Easy was, but I definitely, I learned a lot of things that helped me buy. But when I moved into acquisitions, everything really came full circle. It was like a situation that I understood a lot more about sales once I got put in the position to be the buyer. And I feel like I'm just as good of a sales agent now as, let me go back. I'm a better sales agent now that I've been in acquisitions for an extended period of time, because I understand the full cycle of everything. So
Sure.
to boil it down, my strong suit is acquisitions. I'm very data driven, like I had said before. So I understand numbers, but I also understand emotion and psychology around purchasing and pain points and stuff like that. I'm definitely an acquisitions guy. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll work with buyers and I love doing it. It's fun. It's more of a gamification type of deal. It's like, getting a win. But yeah, I feel like my true strengths lie in acquisitions. So I probably sold 10 homes since I've moved into acquisitions. Like, I do sell sometimes, but it's not my strong suit by any means.
Cool.
I'm definitely a sales guy.
I know that.
I fucking love sales. Yeah. But it took me 4 months to sell my first house.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was very, Michael was there in the beginning. I sucked. Yeah. But then once I got it, I got it. The first year I finished like 55 sales after not selling anything my first 4 months. Yeah.
4 months.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I made top 5 my first 2 years. So I would definitely say I'm a great salesperson, I think.
Okay.
But I definitely, I could do the other side too. I did buy 75 houses 1 year, and
you've bought a bunch here.
Yeah,
Both
a lot
of
of,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I could definitely do both, but I think that's why we work so well together. Is Michael is definitely more like data driven, and I think you probably notice patterns better than I do. So I think that's why he's better suited like for that side. And then, you're a great people person, but I think that's one of my strongest attributes. So I think
you're very customer facing. You know, you're like always smiling, the happy-go-lucky guy.
Put people at ease.
And I'm the one that's going to kind of put you on edge a little bit.
Stresses them out.
Yeah, that's why I work better on the other side,
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Branching off of that, why did you struggle in your first 4 months, and how did you pivot to do better?
I've always been slower to get things, but it's like once I get it, I get it. I kind of have to like learn it my way. And I think that's what I was going through. It was, most sales agents, when they make their first sale, it's like they get the investor out there, and then usually somebody else like closes them. And, looking back at my first sale, Michael was there with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Full
basically
circle.
closed it. But
It was my acquisition.
Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Sixplex in Coppers Cove.
Yeah.
140,000
Yeah,
Wow.
for a 6-unit. Half of it was moldy.
took me 4 months to get to that point. But, to show that like I was learning, it took me 4 months to get there, but I had the guy get a cashier's check and drive an hour to go look at the house with me. So
And what? He had been passed off from like 3 or 4 different other sales agents.
he'd been in the system
So-
for like 4 years. Never bought anything before, been passed around so many times. Yeah, and I got him to, go to the bank, get a cashier's check, and then come to the house,
Okay.
Meet us
So
there.
yeah, it's like
Easy told me, he's like, hey, I got someone coming out. I was like, okay. I was like, this kid's been here 4 months, like I've been here,
Yeah.
a year and a half, almost 2 years since then. And, I was in a production role. I was most likely slated to be a manager at that point. So, I was going to go with him to go up there because it's my deal. I want to make sure, if he gets a buyer out. And then he told me he had someone coming out with a $5,000 check. And I was like, really?
Okay.
Okay.
G
Maybe I need to
move.
hold a little
Yeah.
bit more weight to this guy. And actually, I take that back because you did sell that house. We sold it together out there. And you were the king of Colleen at that point, and you got another buyer out to a property the next, or like a week later or something like that. And I was like, do you think this guy's like legit and for real? He's like, I think he is. And turns out that guy ended up buying like 20, 30 houses from you since
it's
you'd
like
been
one
there.
of
So
the biggest buyers we ever had.
And what, you ended up with like 9 sales that month, 10
Yeah.
sales in your 4th month after?
Yeah, my first month making sales, I sold 8,
Yeah.
and then 3, and then like 11.
It was building. It was
Yeah.
building up, right?
Yeah.
That's honestly
it takes a
though,
certain type of person though to work through that 4 months to
Sure.
be at a point where you can really reap the benefits of it.
Well, and I'm kind of making a joke there, but the truth is, during those 4 months, I imagine you were getting a ton of disclosures.
Mhm.
You were building that network.
Yeah.
When something clicked, it all just kind of came together, right?
Yep.
When did you guys meet? And I think you just said this, but you were already in your role. You were already in acquisition. So you started what, a year plus?
I started
ahead?
at the end of 2017, and you came on.
End of 18. December
So a
18.
year and some change is how long I had been there before he had come on. And I had been in an acquisition role for probably, I got moved into acquisitions 5 months in. So it was a pretty quick trajectory in the grand scheme of things. I think they say about a year is what you should do in sales before you get moved into the acquisitions role. But there was an opportunity to open up an office, and I wanted to be in the right place at the right time to do that. So I put my foot in there.
Well, in that year, Mark, to me, it's relative to where the office is. Like with an established office, yeah, that's ideal. You get them a lot of experience. New offices, we're pushing them up as you've experienced, right?
Yeah, no kidding. 2 months, 3 months.
I wasn't sure. I didn't know when you came in, but in just thinking about your relationship, I assumed, I was like, maybe they were like friends starting out together, or they were office rivals or whatever. You guys were in very different places. How did this friendship begin?
I think Easy sold about 60 to 70% of the deals that I put out.
There you go.
There was a minute. It was just me and you.
It was like I would put out a deal and Easy would sell it that afternoon, or it was like Easy has 3 people and no one else has anybody. And I don't know, it just making money brings you close. You know, it does.
Yes, it
I would
does.
say, you know, it took us a little bit of time to like actually become like friends, you know, like even as we were doing business together, it wasn't like we were instantly clicking after we sold the first couple of houses. Like it was probably like, obviously before COVID, but
we started having dinner together. You know, I bring my girl and you'd bring yours, and we'd have dinner like every Tuesday.
yeah.
But I think that was after like probably close to the end of that first year we met. So
I mean, I'd have to look through my pictures to realize that first time that like my wife now, but when we all went camping that one time, because that was like the first time you like told me about your girl and you're like, hey, like, you know, I think they get along. And we're like, sweet. Like we're both relatively the same age. It's like, why not meet people and go and do stuff like that? And
Sure.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That camping trip was.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys each had a lot of success. I believe you were in a manager role. Is that correct?
Correct.
Like an acquisitions manager?
Acquisitions manager,
Okay.
yeah.
Were you in a sales manager role at that point? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
I think after you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
not
he
too far.
graduated, you were sales manager and then went AA, and then he came in?
No,
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
okay.
AA to acquisitions manager directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I became sales manager for, I don't know, 2 months.
A brief stint of time.
Yeah. I
Okay.
tore my ACL 10 days after getting moved up. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember seeing you
In
crutching
Atlanta.
around.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah.
Sucks. Well, after you left your previous company, you guys started flipping houses together.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this just
Instantly.
a natural extension of your friendship, and you're like, hey, let's make some money together.
Yeah, it was, I mean, we had worked together there for so long, and there came a point where we just kind of realized, like my girl got pregnant and we were having a baby. And then I sat back and I realized, you know, I want to have something I can give him, and I can't give him this job, you know? So that's when the wheels started kind of turning, and I said, I gotta make a big move here.
Well, you were on a 5-year plan when you first got into that role, right?
I was,
It was
yeah.
like, I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to learn what I can and go do it on my own.
Yeah, or do something. Yeah.
Do something, yeah.
And then, and then we kind of was like, man, we work so well together. Like, why not flip houses together?
You know, I saw it like I was very strong in acquisitions. He was very strong in sales. Not that we were going to go out and like try and wholesale on our own, but like the contacts that we had together really felt like we could have really made a killing out there. So
Yeah.
I know that there are definitely some things that I'm not the best at, and I'm like cognizant of that, right? And I think that having a good relationship with a fair amount of buyers is something that is extremely powerful, especially in this, you know, in this tight-knit market. So realizing the things he brings to the table, realizing what I could bring to the table, it's like there's no reason that we shouldn't join forces.
Yeah.
I had flipped, I don't know, probably 5 to 7 houses while I was working at the last place.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, he's a beast in acquisitions. So, you know, and I had some experience with flipping, and, you know, we both had rentals. You know, you had
I never
gone through the
flipped
rehab
anything, but I
process.
just, you know, refied and held on to them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd gone through the rehab process, acquiring them myself, and, you know, the lending partnerships and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we both just brought a lot to the table. And it'd be, if you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mentality that we kind of had. And just where we came from, we're all social people, right? So going off and doing this on your own is great, but
No,
is
that
it
shit sucks.
Pretty hard.
Those people
Pretty
never look happy.
difficult.
yeah.
They don't
it's
look
like,
happy at all.
Yeah.
And especially on the whole side, it's just almost
it's a grind,
impossible.
man.
Yeah,
it's a
so much.
grind.
You don't have the bandwidth. Well, you guys went from there, you flipped some houses, you launched this office together. I know it's been a hell of a year, just like all first years for offices, but you guys had almost some immediate success, then down, up, sideways, the roller coaster, right? Obviously, I was speaking to another agent earlier and just mentioned you've had back-to-back really great months, excellent team, very, very talented. It was exciting for me to spend some time with those folks because I'd met a lot of them. I'm like, these guys are great. Let's see what these other ones are like. Totally great. But you've had great months back to back. What have the challenges been in getting there? That's a big question.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a.
I remember before we opened, and I did my own little like GM tour. Where I went to Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, and talked to a few other GMs.
Okay.
And I can't remember who said it, but somebody told me like the biggest challenge is going from like 100 to 200, and then 200 to like 250. And I think we've been able to hit a few of those markers, but like really pushing it to the next level. And like, how do we get there? I think that's been one of our biggest challenges. And then just making sure some people like see it through, you know, because everybody's going to hit those challenging moments. And I mean, they have to be able to see it through on their own, but some people need like a little boost on just to get through it. Like, you know, you're on the top of the hill, you know, it's gonna like really push for you if you just keep going through a little bit more, you know, so just getting them to keep pushing.
This might speak to the differences between us because he's talking very broadly and I'm like recruiting. You know, a lot of procedural stuff, like really getting the right people in the door with the right mindsets. And I know that throughout the last, you know, we started recruiting towards the end of last year, and you know, we've gone through recruiting changes and what that looks like for us with actual people coming in the door and the longevity in which they stay here. I think the biggest challenges for us, or for me, has gone from a production role to a leader role. You know, I've always had a leadership mindset, but developing my managerial skills to a point where I'm respected, but also, you know, put at a point where, that's a tough question, but I would say like really developing managerial skills.
Yeah.
And that's what you've been honestly great for. Like, no discredit to Max or Andrew, but you're really built to like help develop leaders. And honestly, like you have really opened my eyes to a lot of ways to do things differently, the way to talk to people, the way to hold myself, right? Maybe I'm dealing with a little bit of an imposter syndrome from like what I talked about in sales. Like,
everyone does.
It's something that is very real. And we've gotten a lot of wins over the last 6 months specifically that have really built me up to a point where I've got confidence, you know, and that's something that I would say has been a big thing that both of us have gotten to the point of. So
Thank you for saying that.
yeah, man.
Oh, that means a lot. But you know, I was just thinking the exact same thing, and I was going to say, like, I love working with you guys, and I'll admit some of it's from an ego level because you guys had never been GMs before, and you call me and you actually ask my opinion of things. And I'm sure there's times where I'm like, whoa, don't do that. Do this. Do not do that. But most of the time, I think it's like, I just know I think best when I'm talking to somebody and it's collaborative, right? So like when you guys call me, it's not necessarily like I have the answer. We're finding it together. You know, we kind of work through the fact pattern, whatever it may be. And I'm able to just suggest whatever I have from my experience.
We have a lot of experience when it comes to acting in the leadership position and really being at a point where you can speak confidently about a lot of these things because you've been through it, you know?
Yeah. And it has been really fun. I should have thought of all the examples. Not that there's so many, but like times where either you don't know what to do or you're in a situation and we work through it together. We find an answer and it's something you're able to carry forward.
Yeah.
Like the recruiting one is classic. And this isn't necessarily specific to you, but GMs will be like, hey man, office is pretty full. Like we're just going to kind of like go with this for a little while. And I'm like, don't. I'm like, you have to keep bringing people in. Because as you've seen.
Yeah, 2 months ago, I had that conversation with you. Right. And then here we are.
And look at the shift. You had a down month just over 2 months ago, like way down.
Yeah.
You're killing it right now. And the reason why I want to get into that is you had an influx, not just of talent in terms of numbers, but like really talented people. What is it that's making Austin hum like it is right now? What do you think?
I think we have fun. I think everybody like really enjoys coming into the office.
Yeah.
And everybody everybody like really enjoys each other, and everybody cracks on each other, and they feel like comfortable to do it.
Love that.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm really proud of what we've built. It's a lot of little inputs that lead to a bigger picture. And I think that we've finally started to reach that bigger picture, and the successes have started to come in, and the buy-in factor of our agents is there. It's not like we're just preaching all this stuff down their throats anymore. It's like we're seeing real results, and we're seeing them in a big fashion. We're seeing people step in the door with a little bit of real estate experience that are able to make $15K their first month and then $30K their second month. And that was this month that
proof
happened.
of concept.
The proof of concept is there.
Yeah.
And along with what Easy said, when you make a bunch of money and you have fun doing it, it's hard not to kind of create that atmosphere that we've been trying to build, this whole year. Cause like, as you said, like there's been ups and there's been downs. And I feel like we're finally at a point where we have the people that we want in the door, and they're bought in, and they're capable of doing the job. And now is the fun part of reaching that next level.
Yeah, no, for sure. And look, fun is a huge part of this. It's like one of the key reasons that I love this business. Fun is an absolute byproduct of production. Like when people are winning, that's when things loosen up. Everyone's having a great time. I think it's the best business in the world when you're winning. But I do see that. I think you guys have, and you have a diverse group. It's not like everyone's the same or they were all referrals. Like but it's the same types of like-minded, driven people who want to get better. And I think you've had a couple of key performers on both sides of the room that are there for people to emulate, to learn from, and to want to be like.
Yeah, going off that, I would say like, we're all 1099 in this job, right? So we're not paying you to come show up and teach other people how to do this.
Right.
That is inherently a factor and a trait in most of our agents in the office, is that they understand that this is a two-sided job, right? You have acquisitions and you have sales. And unless we both work together, we've seen it in the past where that is fractured, it doesn't work.
And
right?
It can be fractured.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing when you get AAs to understand, man, this is your sales team.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing what I can, but you need them to be great to sell your deals. And I had a conversation with an agent about that today. He was taking words out of my mouth before I could even say them. He wants to be a leader. He wants to be in management. And he was like, hey, if you want to be a leader, be a leader. Don't wait for a title. Just jump in and do it. And people will see that. And I can't echo this enough to agents, to managers. Put yourself in a position where you're the guy so that or girl, so that when the opportunity arises, there's no question who's going to get it, right? And he kind of sees that. I want to touch on cracking on each other.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give this lesson. It's not going to make the clips. I think you are at a point where you are the leader when your people start making fun of you publicly.
That's what I've heard.
When they start memeing you and they put you on the group text, because it shows that they're comfortable. Like they respect you. They don't fear that you have a big ego and you're going to come down on them. They feel safe, right?
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful moment. And I've seen it on your GroupMe for both of you.
Yeah, I want to say there was one moment when we landed in Montana, and something happened in the group where it was something that I had kind of been saying, and it happened. And I've been thinking about it the whole flight, and I sent like this long message, and I was like, I'm going to get the team all riled up. And I sent the message, and immediately somebody responded. I think it was Nick. And he was like, don't listen to this guy. He's wearing a Skims sweats right now. And then the whole team just started roasting me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, for some reason, people start finding old photos of me and changing their GroupMe photos to me when I'm like a kid or in uncomfortable positions. And it's,
I saw.
I take it with a grain of salt, because ultimately it's a form of compliment. If you really think about it, like it is. And I think it doesn't show disrespect. It just shows how
Comfort.
tight knit we are.
Yeah,
you know?
comfortable.
Yeah, and that it's top down and bottom up. Like everyone is on that same kind of fun vibe.
Exactly.
And that's what I see. I mean, you've got a really supportive culture right now. Yeah, it's, the room is very balanced. I want to take this a different direction while I can remember it. You had a brand new kid coming into this.
Mm-hmm.
Had you already had your first, or the kid was on the way? Look, I don't even.
My son was born in September of last year, and yeah, so I was, we started in January, so he was 3 months old when we first opened up the office. So thankfully, I was at a position where I was able to really spend 3 months and help my wife out and be at a point where we got to a point where it was pretty stable right before moving into this next adventure that we took. So, yeah, man, it was, I feel like we're finally settled, like we have our processes and procedures, but now we're pregnant again. So it's
I was about to say, are you?
So,
that was my next line.
Come April of next year, we're going to have to, relearn it all again, but that's the
we're
fun
about
of
to get
all
rocked.
of it. Yeah.
And you too.
Yeah. I think
when is your child due?
I think our due date's like May 2nd. And yours is what?
April 28th.
Yeah. So we're like less than a week apart.
Well, I look forward to stepping in as the Austin GM for a period of time.
Yeah.
No, but the point there is like, look, you guys have brand new children and now you're about to have round 2, right? First of all, I think you're nuts, but great job. I think it's wonderful by the same token. In the first year, how were you able to balance that?
It's a motivation. It's what gets me up in the morning.
Yeah.
It's what makes me have these hard conversations when I have to have them. It's really what we all do it for, in my opinion. It's like we've all been working up to this one point. We've all made a lot of money. Like we really have, and we've been very, blessed in the fact of like being successful in this role. And I was always thinking about what's next, and now it's like what I was put on this earth to do. And it's been the best thing that's happened to me ever. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter in my life. And, God bless my wife for being as strong as she is. She works a 9 to 5 too. I know your wife works as well. So dealing with daycare has not been the easiest situation, but it's something that we're going to pivot and move with because we're doing this for them. Or I'm doing this for them.
It's our women. That's the reason why we can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Picking them up, dropping them off.
I did prepare some notes prior to this. It's unscripted coming off the top, but I had an asterisk that said, may want to give a shout out to your wives at this point.
100%.
So, yeah. I'm sure, man.
It's, I don't know how, the single parents out there, that's just an incredible burden to take on by yourself. So
really
I'm very grateful that, we're both in a position where we have really strong, independent women in our life that get along with each other. Yeah, our parents, both local too. Your mom's a doula. My mom's here. My dad's here. So my sister lives across the street from me. We have a ton of, resources that are available here to help us get to where we want to go. And I know that we're taking it a day at a time. We're thinking forward, but we're also, just figuring it out. So.
No, it's super exciting.
And it's fun having 2 kids.
It'll be hard right now.
It's fun having sons that are relatively the same age. Yours is 9 months older than mine. So we've been finally able now to like get together and like they play together, and it's like we can get back to being friends. I know that we're all friendly and hunky-dory in the office, but it's rare that we actually like hang out together outside of the
Hey, we're
work
carving
environment.
pumpkins tonight.
Yeah, we're carving pumpkins tonight. I think who's picking up the pizza on the way home? Is that you or me?
I'll do it.
Appreciate it.
I love that. And, no matter where this heads for both of you, like this is a special time and I don't know, this is a very special relationship. I'm sure, to your point, like, hey, we don't hang out much. Like, why would you? You're with each other all
Our
day.
girls are like, when are we going to hang out again? I was like, I see this guy every day.
Like
hey, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day.
Yeah, it's got to be hard. I mean, get together socially, you're going to end up talking work, right?
Yeah.
I think we bridge the gap pretty well with that. I cognizantly think about that kind of thing because like what do our wives want to hear? Not that, right? Like they don't want to talk about work, but it's going to come up. Our phone's going to go off and we're going to be like,
yeah,
what's going on here? And that's the other thing. I'm sure you're going to touch on it, but like our level of communication couldn't be more intense.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's all day. You read each other's minds at this point, I imagine.
Yeah. I kind of know what he's thinking. Like if I have something, I'm like, man, I wonder what he thinks about us doing this. I kind of already know.
Yeah.
I think it probably goes the other way too.
Yeah. We surprise each other sometimes and it works out.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, bring that deal to Ruwwe. And I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at it. And like, I was expecting you to shit on it. And I was like, you're the cheapest thing to sell in the West, yada, yada, yada. You have this, this, and this going on. Like, why wouldn't you want to take this shot? And you're like, oh, I didn't think that way. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Anything Easy does, like I know about, anything I do, Easy knows about. It's like, we really went into this. It's like, I think we sat down a few times. Like, obviously we flipped like roughly 15 houses last year, wholetailed some, obviously did a lot of work to a lot of others, but you know, we were on the same page in regards to going into this is like, this is not going to work if we're on different pages. Like we see each other, you know, last year when we were flipping houses, we saw each other every single day. We live in the same neighborhood. He would pick me up. I would pick him up. We'd go on material runs, whatever it may be. And, throughout that process, I mean, being $4 million in debt at a time, flipping that many houses can be pretty stressful. And
that really groomed us for this.
It really brought us
feet to the fire.
Brought us really close. I mean, obviously we were close before, but like there's some serious implications with going into this business, and you got to choose wisely who you do it with. And I think that was a pretty good trial run for how we conduct ourselves together. And I would say we're a pretty unified front. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All I know is you were out of the country in Europe last week, and he picked your ass up at the airport at 9:00 at night on a Friday.
Funny story.
I was like,
about
you're
this.
insane. I would do it for my wife, but probably not many people.
Yeah, this guy, man. The whole week I was thinking my Friday night, I'm going to go pick him from the airport. I planned my whole Friday night around it. He doesn't tell me what flight he's coming in on, so I have to find it online. And then he lands and he's like, oh, my sister's picking me up.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And I just talked about intense hyper communication, and they were talking about this, but
Oh,
I did tell
jet
you in
lagged.
passing, I was like, hey, my sister is not going to Dallas. She's going to be able to pick me up. So it didn't work. I was like, no. He's like, I was like, it came across green. I was like, oh, he's at the airport. I was like, thank God he's not.
Well, guys, to jump back to work quickly, again, I think your team is so well positioned. I think you're a couple of pieces away from being, I mean, you've already been one of the top offices, but really contending for top office. What are your goals? I mean, you probably haven't thought this far ahead, but what do you think? Where's this team headed, certainly into 2026?
Well, we had some goals that we spoke about in Rough Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we weren't able to achieve all of those. So
we had pretty high hopes for this year. You know, I think we all had high hopes, and some maybe had a little bit higher. I was more of the beacon of reasoning in regards to starting off year one and really expectations for where we were supposed to be. And we exceeded my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't quite get to Easy's expectations, which would have been absolutely incredible if we did. But sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, I was going to say that's still the goal. I think until we hit that, that's still the goal. It's being number one.
Number one in the company, and absolutely take over the Austin territory. You know, I think that we've gotten to a point where we've seen a lot of success, but we know that there's so much more out there for us to really go after and capture. So I would say the timeline surrounding that is open-ended. I think we can get there sooner than we think we can. But I think that we do want some independence from each other eventually. It's been a lot of fun. You know, it's hard to think what this looks like outside of what we're currently dealing with, but we've got a really good thing going and we work really well together. And yeah, like we don't make as much money because there's two of us, but I think that eventually we will split off, and I don't think that our level of communication will go away, but I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, you know, where we go, what we do. But
I love that you went to that, because that was going to be, I mean, it's a general question. It's almost a private conversation for us, but you know, I would love to see the two of you each having a team in the same place.
That would be pretty cool.
And growing from the same, because you're the same culture. Your vision is unified. You guys still can kind of tag team like that. But clearly, market dominance is the goal.
Yeah.
And I think you're so
100%.
well positioned for that.
Yeah.
Not to make it boring here, but I want to hear a little bit about the Austin market, because A news article just came out saying it's the top buyer's market in the country, which sounds like a reason to celebrate for someone, but not for us, right? It's tremendous inventory coming on, but I know it's a difficult market. Tell me about it.
We do both sides.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And Max has been pretty insistent on instilling this in us, is like, if it's easy to buy houses, it's going to be tough to sell them. If it's tough to buy houses, it's going to be easy to sell them, right? So it's always going to be one side or the other.
The extremes either way are a challenge.
The extremes either way are a challenge. I would say we're dealing with an extreme with a buyer's market right now. We're thankful to be both Austin locals. We understand the market data when it comes to, acquiring houses and understanding it street by street. The Austin market is very finicky. We have extremely high price points, but we also deal with areas where we're purchasing under 50,000, right? And if you look at our board right now, we have sub 100, and we also have purchase prices over 720,000. So it's a situation that, as you've seen, has changed dramatically throughout this year. The Fed has a big deal, influence on that, what the cost of money is. And I would say that we're working towards an uptick in the Austin market right now. It's been about 3 years now that we've been in a down buyer's market. And hopefully with the cost of money coming down a little bit, we're going to start to see a little bit more balanced aspect of that. But now is the time to buy from our point of view. And it really is a situation that these acquisition agents that we're working with have the ability to really make a lot of offers and get a lot of properties under contract. It's just got to be at the right price.
Yeah.
So that comes back to market data and really understanding what margins are, what areas that we need to focus on, and certain types of products, right? They're houses, but we call them products because that's really what they are. So I would say, hopefully we're working towards an uptick, right? And we're working hard now to reap the benefits of it when it comes around. So
we've seen some really good deals though. Like we've had some deals sell really fast, like scary fast.
And it's like, did we price it too low? And it's like, no, we didn't price it too low. We got it sold at the right price, and that person's going to make money, and they're going to come back to us. So
it's a win for the investor.
It's a win for the investor. We went into this role really trying to be a little bit different than where we came from, and I think a lot of that comes to how you treat investors and the value that you provide to them. And we're doing our best to provide good deals that are going to sell. I would say, we're all going to drop properties when we're in this line of business, but we're trying to limit that amount, but also push the boundary, because if we don't push the boundary, then we're not going to be in a position to continue to explore those different, types of products that we haven't done in the past. And we're seeing those successes right now. So I would say that it really has been encouraging to see a lot of newer people come in the door and have unbiased opinions on certain products and certain deals, right? Like if you bring me a house, I'm like, that's going to be hard to sell. And he's like, I believe in it. The numbers are there, and he proves me wrong, and he gets the deal done. And it's like, I'm surprised. And it's like one of the best feelings ever. It's because I'm giving my agents the freedom to kind of understand the market from a surface level and not have any bias coming into it. And finding success out of that just kind of really shows me that there's buyers out there for everything, and we just got to find the right deals in order to get them moved. So I know that, we've done a lot of transactions this year, a lot, and we have a pretty good data set to really kind of pull from and understand. And that's the biggest thing that has made us successful, is understanding the successes, but understanding the failures even more. Because if you really don't understand every aspect of why that deal failed, then you're not going to be able to be in a position to flip the switch and get it done the next time at the right price.
Right. I think having a data-driven mindset like that is a huge advantage. And it's something that a lot of GMs don't have. It's not something that I naturally would want to dive in on. You got to be someone who wants to really roll their sleeves up and get into it. But if you can track that stuff, understand the patterns, and like you said, learn from mistakes or just misfires, it can take you a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask, do you guys have any questions for me? Anything you want to talk about?
What have you been doing over the
what have I been doing?
Before, obviously you exited the last company, and you took a hiatus. what was that like for you? You know, we're all very work-driven people, so it's kind of a baited question that I'm asking you, but like, how'd you feel about that?
It's an easy answer, and it's hard. Look, you know, I'm a super direct person, and I've already had some answers preloaded to this. I took a year off of work. I was miserable. I did a good job of starting fights with my wife because she works super hard, and I am sitting at home throwing tantrums because I want attention. Hitting the gym every day is cool to a point. I cannot imagine being retired. I think it would be the worst thing in the world for me. I tend to have a bit of an addiction to intensity, and that's why I love this job. I want to go hard. I want to go fast. And I mean, I don't know, for people who are wired like that, and I'm sure there are people wired like me, even people that are just ADD, you could find an incredible career in this job because it is moving fast and you're jumping here, just, you know, nonstop action. And that's what I want. I want to be at war.
You know, it's a blessing and a curse. You know,
it's
like,
a curse. It'll kill me.
Well, it's a blessing to be in this type of role that really kind of is so fast paced, and you get so many wins, and you can really kind of get that instant gratification, right? And as soon as we stepped away from that, you know, we're holding on to these properties for 2 to 6 months, and
it's very delayed.
Very delayed.
That's hard for us.
Delayed gratification, and not only the social aspect of it. That was a big reason why we wanted to get back into this. But you know, it's like, name another position where you can get this type of gratification from what you do day in and day out, like multiple times a week. And it's just, I haven't found that yet, you know, and I don't think I ever will.
To expand on that, I think the best job in the world is your job.
I would agree.
I miss being a GM, to your point about the social aspect. Look, this is lonely.
I know.
It is. Like, we do a lot of things, and I mean, God, Max in his role, doing all the tech and Salesforce and legal, talk about a thankless job.
Right.
You know, I'm fortunately blessed to work with guys like you, where like I feel some connection and feel the warmth, but you know, other people, they're not going to respond necessarily that way, and that's fine. But being a GM is just incredible because you're creating a tribe, you're creating this culture. To a large degree, you love them. They definitely love you, especially if you're allowing them this opportunity. You're helping them become very successful financially. You give them recognition. It's the best. It's the greatest job. It's incredibly stressful. It's up and down. So you got to be built for that. But like I said, this is a special time for you guys. And it's really easy to not be in your shoes and tell you the build is the best part when you're suffering. But you're going to look back at this time and just be like, we did it.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to look at each other like that and be like, man, we put this whole thing together. And remember this time? God, that was terrible. And that guy, that agent, whatever. There is a mountaintop, and it's hard to stay there, but you're going to get there together.
Yeah. You know, it's hard to say like we made it, but like it's starting to feel.
You never make it.
It's starting to feel like those wins are there, you know, and even looking back to January, it's like we're just so different, you know, like we're so different on a team level. We're so different on a managerial level. Like one deal can make or break your month. And now it's like, the progression from sales to acquisitions to either managing sales or acquisitions to then being a GM, you get your wins in different ways, but they change along the way. You know, it's like, I want to beat the person next to me. I want to buy the best deal that I can. I want to help these other acquisition agents buy. And then you're like, I want to get the young guy who doesn't have any real estate experience. I want to get him making money in this space, and I want to give him the confidence to feel like he can go do whatever he wants to do after this.
Yeah, Jared, he's like one of my favorite stories. I remember when we had our ride along. Day one. Yeah, we had a ride along. We met him at a coffee shop before we had our office, and we drove around town. And I remember, you know, I was putting gas in my truck, and he's in the front seat, Ruwwe's in the back, and we're just talking. And then, you know, fast forward, and he's a machine in acquisitions.
I talk about it a lot. You've heard me talk about it. Like taking someone who is talented, but totally raw talent, no experience, and then just building them into a beast.
Work ethic.
It's the
over
best.
Talent.
Work ethic and resilience. Talent, both of those over talent. I talked about this today. But don't get me wrong, like my job, if I have the right perspective, is incredibly rewarding, but it's delayed.
Yeah.
For me to look, like I will look a year from now and look back at you guys and others and be like, I was a part of that. And like we did it together, right?
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Like
what,
that is rewarding.
you came on in February. We started in January. You've essentially been here for our whole ride, right? So you've seen the team progress to where it is now. You've seen, you know, the ups, the downs, and you have played a major role in that. Like, don't cut yourself short. Like, hopefully, like what I was telling you before, like,
Come on.
we've almost made it, you know, like we never made it, but like we're getting to the point of feeling that way.
Yeah.
And it's important for you to recognize that too, because you have played a major role in developing us, which directly translates to our team because, you know, we're still working in the business, right? So it's like we're leading by example and that just trickles down. So I know that it all starts from the top.
Well, thank you for all of that and really good insights from both of you guys on a lot of different topics. That's all I got. You guys have anything else?
No?
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
appreciate you.
No. Likewise. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Cool.